It is Friday, July 19th, 2024. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will start by saying this. Wow. So much going on. It's absolutely incredible how fast things are beginning to accelerate. The volatility of the stock market to these massive internet outages today, which we were going to talk about. You have to think about this. If they are willing to assassinate a future president, think about what they're willing to do to the economy. I have never seen the U.S. economy so fragile. I've never seen so much division. I believe we're going to see so much happen post-election. Yes, we're going to see a lot before the election. We're going to see a lot more after the election. You know, when I was having lunch with my friend yesterday, we were just talking about this, about the importance of getting out of the system as much as you can. Nobody can be 100% out. People have businesses. People have obviously reasons why they have to have money in the bank. People are doing transactions. They have to put money in the bank. But I believe, and this is just me, not financial advice, but I believe that this is a time where it is more important to get out of the system the best that you can, to have your money out of the system. We were just talking about this yesterday at lunch. We were talking about the possibility and probability of grids going down. We were talking about bank closures. We were talking about currency collapses. And I said, look, this is why I own gold and silver, because of this. And I do apologize if you hear some snoring. It is the late afternoon and Nugget is taking a power nap. She has no care in the world. She doesn't care about grids down. She doesn't care about currency collapses. She doesn't care. She's well taken care of. She has a great life. But we have got to care about this, because your kids, your pets, your families are not going to have a great life if you cannot navigate through this. Microsoft CrowdStrike outage cancels 2,000 flights, takes down DMV, and closes hospitals. There were people today that could not have their surgeries, could not have procedures done. World hobbled by massive tech outage. Here's another one from the AP News. Global tech outage, live updates. Flights grounded and offices hit as internet users face disruptions. CNBC, Microsoft, CrowdStrike issue causes largest IT outage in history. Daily Mail, government holds emergency Cobra meeting after Microsoft outage sparks global chaos with planes and trains grounded, GPS in mayhem, shops closed, TV channels offline. So who did this? Nobody really knows. Was it just a glitch? Was it something more nefarious than that? Very, very concerning. Because you know as well as I do, everything now is digital. Everything now takes a computer. You go to the store, you cannot process a transaction without a computer. You go to an ATM, everything's digital. People's bank accounts, everything is digital. All their money is sitting on a computer screen. People don't even know what holding physical money even is today, because they're so used to using debit cards, credit cards, and having everything on a computer screen. And I was sitting there talking to my friend yesterday about this and the dangers of having all of your wealth sitting in somebody else's hands that can be disappeared by the press of a button. Why it is so important to be your own central bank. Why it is important to have cash, physical cash that you can access, physical gold and silver that you can access. Really an incredible time, ladies and gentlemen. Really incredible to watch this. Fury, as multiple banks, including Wells Fargo, closed 30 branches in just 1 week, a Daily Mail. So what is going on here? And by the way, I'm watching some of the financial channels today. Hardly anything mentioned this IT crash. In fact, I haven't heard anything. I've been watching Fox Business all day. Have not heard a thing about it at all. And yet, this is literally causing global chaos right now, and nobody's talking about it. We're talking about the convention and the election and all that, but nobody's talking about all these people sitting at airports, government emergency meetings, financial institutions shutting down, banks shutting down, everything connected to this, hospitals not being able to service patients, people canceling surgeries. This is a big deal, and it's another reminder just how fragile this entire system is and how dangerous it is if you trust the system and all of your wealth, all of your money is sitting in this system. This is a wake-up call today, a reminder that you should not have all your money in the bank, that you should not trust these banks, that you need to take responsibility, that you need to have physical assets outside of the system that you can get to. This is just a warm-up. Wait till you see what's coming. It is going to get much, much more serious than what we witnessed today. My life hasn't changed at all. Nothing was affected. I've got the television on, computers are working, internet's working, everything's fine. But there's people sitting at hospitals, they're sitting at airports, there are trains that are not running right now, there are financial institutions that cannot do transactions right now, et cetera, et cetera. But at some point, this is going to affect all of us. It's going to affect all of us. And the question will be, for how long? What if things go down a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Are you going to be able to do a transaction? Will you be able to eat? What if your grid goes down? Here's one from the economiccollapse.com. Just like the president, the U.S. economy is sick once again. This economy has been sick for a very, very long time. And I don't think it's fair to put all the blame on the president. Let me be very clear here. This economy has been failing for many, many years, at least since 2008. Let's all be real. Let's all be honest here. You could argue that it was failing way before 2008, but I would say that 2008 is a good starting point to where we saw major, major problems. The great financial crisis, the trillions that were pumped into it to keep it on life support, and now here we are today. Home evictions are on the rise, up 15% compared with the same period before the health crisis. In some cities, it's as high as 30%. The median monthly home payment in swing states is up 92% since 2020. Stop and Shop grocery stores is closing 32 stores. Walgreens going to be closing another 2,000 stores. Nearly 80,000 small businesses surveyed say that they won't survive the current economic climate. 80,000, not 8,000, 80,000 on top of the tens of thousands we've already lost. The May Freedom Economy Index found small businesses remain in survival mode, with 40% delaying paying bills to manage cash flow and 70% putting staff plans on hold. They're not hiring, they're not firing. We are in far more trouble than most people realize. Here's from CNBC today. The ultra-wealthy just gained $49 trillion in wealth thanks to stocks. The global population of ultra-high net worth individuals, people worth 30 million or more, increased 8% last year. Their total wealth increased 7% to $49 trillion thanks to the year-end stock rally. The average American doesn't even have $500 saved up. The average American will never be able to retire. The average American will never be able to buy a house. Yet, the ultra-wealthy just gained another $49 trillion in wealth. Between the soaring cost of living and inflation, the average person is in big trouble. The amount of debt that they're taking on. Yahoo Finance, a new law lets you pull $1,000 from your retirement fund for emergencies. So these people gained 49 trillion, and now you're allowed to pull $1,000, a whole $1,000 from your retirement fund without being taxed. Between the soaring cost of living, sky-high interest rates, inflation, average Americans are strapped for cash, making it even more difficult to save for emergencies and pay them off when they inevitably crop up. Now, you can pull out $1,000 and not be taxed if you have an emergency. Wow, the strong consumer, ladies and gentlemen, the strong consumer. We got buy now, pay later, 867 million credit cards. The average person has over $8,000 of credit card debt at 23+%. It's so bad now that they're going to let you pull a whole $1,000 out of your retirement. Incredible. Drone strike by Yemen's Houthi rebels kills one person and wounds at least 10 in Tel Aviv. Things continue to escalate over in the Middle East. Think about where we're at right now. We're on the verge of a massive global depression. Wars are popping up all over the place. We've got the BRICS rising up, the weaponization of the US dollar, trade wars, debts, deficits, you name it. This is going to get much worse before it gets better, in my opinion. And speaking of getting worse, the Desert Sun, which is our local newspaper out here, 3 arrested after attempted robbery at Palm Springs Bank. This was the Wells Fargo Bank, if you live in the area, off of North Sunrise Way. I believe this was yesterday. And we've had 2, maybe 3 Palm Desert banks robbed, and now 3 arrested in the robbery of a Palm Springs bank. The Coachella Valley, literally every day we're having a bank robbery. It's just getting absolutely incredible. As people get more desperate, you're going to see more crime, more bank robberies, more auto theft, more robberies, more burglaries. It's just going to continue to get worse. So if you think, you're out here in the desert and everything's fine because you're in the desert, think again. Bank robberies now literally occurring every other day. The crime out here is blowing up without a doubt. There's really, unless you're maybe living really, really rural, there are not a lot of safe places. A lot of people think, being in a gated community. I'm sitting here in a gated community today. Does it mean it's safe? Not at all. Not at all. There's crime in our gated communities. We had a crime wave go through here about 3 years ago where they were breaking in through garages and stealing, things in people's houses, burglarizing houses. Another gated community next door, same thing. It just goes on and on and on. You can't get away from this stuff, but you need to be preparing for this because it's going to get much worse. Grids down, cyber attacks, more crime, more theft, more burglaries, more assaults. You have to ask yourself, what are you doing? As I was speaking with my friend yesterday, we agree there's nothing that you can do to stop what's coming. But there's always something you can do to protect yourself and your family. There's no guarantees, but you can always at least put the odds in your favor and have an advantage. And that's extremely important. There's no guarantees. There's nothing 100%. But you can always at least put the odds in your favor, at least have an advantage. And by doing that, every day we could be getting in better shape. We could be learning defensive skills. We could be saving more cash. We could be putting more gold and silver away. We could be adding more skills. We could be working a couple extra hours to build up the war chest. As we spoke yesterday at lunch, there is going to be major opportunity coming too in America, but don't be blinded by that. It's going to be a very, very dangerous time. And you have to have the skills to survive that. Will there be sales? Absolutely. But you're going to be living in a different world, a much more dangerous world. And so people just think it's going to be an economic collapse. It's going to be a social collapse. It's already happening. You're seeing this sick economy dying a very slow death. And very soon that's going to accelerate also. The average person is not prepared for this. They're not prepared to deal with this financial apocalypse that is coming, that has begun, and the social collapse that they're going to have to deal with. When people get hungry, when they get desperate, when they don't have a job, when their kids aren't eating, when they cannot get medical services, when they feel that they've been lied to, people are going to go absolutely out of their minds. Out of their minds. And you can see right now what people will do to other people right now. They commit major crimes, major assaults, vicious assaults, all for what? Just purely entertainment. What are they going to do when they're really mad, when they're hungry, when the government subsidies don't arrive, when those plastic cards don't work or don't buy as much? What are they going to do? What will they do if there's no food on the shelves? You know, people who thought that this stuff was impossible are now going, well, boy, maybe it could get pretty bad. Now, all of a sudden, people aren't laughing. They're coming to the realization, watching everything that is transpiring, what we just watched with the past president, what we're watching with the present president, the volatility of these markets, the amount of people losing jobs now, inflation's not going away, but they're telling you it's only 3%. And people are beginning to realize that they keep telling us stuff, but they're realizing it's not true because they're going to the grocery store, they're going to the gas pump, they're writing out the checks for the electricity bill. Small businesses can't even pay their bills. A lot of people can't even pay their utility bills at this point. So people are hearing one thing on the television and they're looking at their bank accounts, looking at their standard of living, and they're beginning to realize that somebody's lying. And it's not them because they realize they're broke. It's the people on the television, it's the politicians telling all of us that everything is great. Might be great for 10% of this country. It's very good for the top 1%. But what about the other 90% who are working every day, multiple jobs, can't put any money away, 80% of this country living paycheck to paycheck? It's not too good for them. Please comment down below. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what you're seeing in your areas. And let me know what you think is coming. Do you think things are going to get better? Do you think when we have a new president, do you think things are going to improve and get better immediately? Will it take a while? Will it even get better? Are we past the point of no return? A lot of people think that the damage is too severe at this point and that it can never be repaired. I have hope that it can, but I don't believe it's going to happen in a year. I just don't believe that. When you look at how people were able to burn cities down, shut bridges down, commit all kind of acts of violence, what are we going to see post-election? And on top of that, now we're seeing all of these cyber attacks. What happened today, who knows what it is? They're not going to tell us. They're going to say it was a glitch. But I think a lot of us will question that, and we believe it's probably something much bigger than that. These things are continuing to happen daily, and they're intensifying. They're getting bigger. And maybe you haven't been affected by one. I have not been affected by one of these grid attacks or cyber attacks yet, but I know at some point I will. You will, I will, everybody will. Question is, what if we get hit with something big enough that it shuts everything down, not for a day or two, maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks? You imagine if you have no access to your money for a whole week, 2 weeks? What if they shut the power down in your city? Right now, as I make this video, it's nearly 120 degrees outside. How long do you think people last out here in the desert with no air conditioning at 120 degrees? Grid down. Nothing we can do. Grid down. You're on your own. Things we got to be thinking about. Do you have enough water put away? Yesterday, I talked about the emergency food at Costco. A lot of people say, well, it's not the best tasting. It's high in sodium. Let me tell you right now, if you haven't eaten in 2 or 3 days, you'd eat your shoe and it would taste good to you. I love how people say, well, it's just not very good tasting. Too much sodium. Well, then you should probably just starve, I guess. But anybody that hasn't eaten in 2 or 3 days, I guarantee you, they would eat a piece of plastic and think it would taste good. They would eat shoe leather and it would taste good. So look, yes, there are foods that are higher quality. There are foods that probably have more, more healthy ingredients. But at the end of the day, you need something to get you by maybe for a week or 2 or 3 or 4 weeks. You don't have to, go and buy the best. Maybe Mountain House would probably be arguably the best, also the most expensive. But there's other places like Wise that you can get 150 meals for, what was it, $80 at Costco. You could buy 2 of those. You got 300 meals. Maybe it's not the highest quality. Maybe it's not the best tasting. The other option is you starve. I'd rather have something that maybe doesn't taste great, but is going to get me by. It's better than starving your body. At least you're getting calories, you're getting some protein. You can always add something to it. Something to think about. People said, hey, get some canned food. Another thing you can do. But with the emergency foods, they're good for 25 years. So if nothing happens for 5 years, that stuff's still good. 5 years, canned food, probably not going to be so good, right? So I think a combination works good. Go get yourself a couple buckets of emergency food, and keep storing some canned food every week when you go to the grocery store. Buy 5 or 10 cans, put it away. Keep buying some water, put it away, and pray to God you never have to use this stuff. Comment down below. I'm not going to sit here and rant. I know people got things to do, but I wanted to check in with everybody. I'm watching the news today. I'm not hearing anything about this alleged cyber attack, glitch, whatever you want to call it. What do you think about this? Do you think there's something more nefarious? Is it a cyber attack? Is it a glitch? Let me know your thoughts on this. How are you preparing for this? And when do you think we begin to really see some serious attacks here on America? God bless. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Be aware of your environment. Be training, ladies and gentlemen. And as always, I look forward to speaking to each and every one of you. Please share. Please subscribe. Please like this video. And put my channel, my videos all over your social media. You have my permission. Blast my videos all over your social media. Let's continue to wake people up, warn people, get people prepared. Most will not listen. But there's more people now probably awake than ever before. And a lot of that is because of you guys. So have a good weekend. Be safe. Talk to all of you soon.